Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom Orke from Millennial Mom, and today I'm going to talk to you about 90 Day Fiancé, Love in Paradise, Season 4, Episode 10. It's the finale. The episode is called We've Reached Our Final Destination. And you know what? I'm happy that they did. But before we get started, if you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. Also, don't forget to hit that like button and leave me your comments so I know what you thought about this installment of 90 Day Fiancé Love in Paradise and what you thought about these couples. I, for one, before I begin, am happy that it's the finale because I don't think this episode gave what it should have gave. Even though it's new couples, there's like a new expectation of, seeing how couples are going to interact and just bring a different type of, not necessarily drama, but just a different type of energy to the show. And these four couples didn't have any real energy, in my opinion. There's been some shady things going on, but nothing really that would suggest it was love in paradise. All right, so the couples on the episode or the season, I should say, are Alex and Adriano, Shawn and Alliya. Alliya is formerly known as Douglas, Kyle and Annie, and Luke and Madeline. So let me bring up Alex and Adriano. So Alex is 35, Adriano is 30, and Alex is leaving to go home to the state. She's originally from Texas. She came to visit her boyfriend Adriano in Italy. Well, the thing about that is Adriano and Alex were never really on the same page. Alex met Adriano in Italy when she was on vacation a year prior. So she likes to say that they've been together for a year, but they've also broken up 2 times in between there. And I'm like, well, technically you haven't been together for a year if you just met him on vacation. But if you feel like you're exclusive, then okay, that's when it was. Well, Adriano is into a lifestyle that involves threesomes, other women to join in the bedroom. And Alex originally said that she was into it because she had a little dealings with that in previous relationships. But that's not what she wants now. She wants a monogamous relationship and, the fairy tale, the house, the kids, and the lifestyle. Well, Adriano just does not seem to be wanting that same fairy tale lifestyle right now. I mean, just a whole entire season, they've gone back and forth about breaking up, inviting other people into the bedroom. They couldn't even have a nice time on the beach getaway that they've had without Adriano looking to the left and seeing a group of young ladies that he told Alex that, hey, why don't we go ahead and have them join and see what they say. And Alex says, you know what? I'm not into that. I thought I told you no. I want it to be just us. But Adriano told Alex, I'm never going to stop asking you for a threesome. So they're not on the same page. And not just that. When Alex's cousin Tiffany came to visit her in Italy because her cousin is traveling the world, which is nice. If you got it like that, I'm with it, right? So when Tiffany met Alex's boyfriend, it turned out that Adriano, even though we didn't see it, but Alex said it to Tiffany and her other family member, that he wanted to have a threesome with Tiffany, the cousin. And to me, I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back, not the back and forth bickering about not being on the same page as religion, not being on the same page of babies, not being on the same page of just being me and you with the fairy tale lifestyle and maybe moving to Australia to start a new life. But it was a threesome with her cousin, and that's where she felt the most disrespected. Well, when Alex mentioned that to Adriano as a reason why she couldn't continue on with the relationship, Adriano, in a joking way, said, you know what? I wasn't really being serious. Your cousin is not even my type. I just wanted to see if it would push you into maybe having a threesome because I knew you wouldn't want to be with your cousin. Maybe this would get us to, have a little bit more fun in the bedroom. And Alex said, no, this was the last time she was going to be disrespected. And she actually broke up with Adriano and went back, however she got there, to the hotel. Now, when we saw Adriano, I believe it was the next day or even later on in the evening, he couldn't believe that Alex actually broke up with him. He's saying it feels different this time and he would do anything to get her back. And maybe this time it feels different because Alex took back control of the situation instead of you breaking up with her every time over not wanting to participate in threesomes or any other activity that he wanted. She said, no, I can't do this. We're not basically equally yoked, and moved on. And so he couldn't wrap his mind around that. And so now Adriano's trying to figure out what he can do to, gain Alex's trust back and so that they can be a couple again. So he called her to ask to see if he could see her one more time before she left to go back home. She said that she would. And so when they got together, he apologized. Alex in confessional said, this is how he gets her back in anyways, mentally, is to be nice to her and give her what she's asking, the respect that she's looking for, or just making promises that he's going to do better. And she said, but it's not going to work this time. And even though that he is, or who she thought was possibly the man of her dreams, tall, dark, and handsome, she said it would have been nice to join both our families. We could have had a big old wedding and have these babies, but it wasn't meant to be. And just this whole season, from what we've known, even before Alex went to Italy, talking about the breakups, talking about Adriano not wanting to be monogamous, and just knowing that Alex introduced herself as being a therapist, I'm like, Alex, you should have already put your therapist hat on to see these red flags floating in the air, because I'm sure this is what you direct your patients who you counsel to look for the red flags as well. So hopefully Alex has maintained her self-respect, her dignity, and will find someone who wants to be for her and her only. All right, let's move to Shawn and Alliya, formerly known as Douglas. So Shawn is 61, Alliya is 25. So with this couple, Alliya found out that Shawn was keeping a friend with benefits back in the United States. And Alliya said that she didn't want to be in an open relationship. She wanted to be monogamous, and she wasn't going to compromise her morals and values for someone who didn't want to have that type of one-on-one relationship with her. So at a dinner her and Shawn had, she mentioned it, that why does it need to be someone else besides me? You proposed to me. What's the point of that? Well, Shawn basically, in my opinion, shut her down, saying, I'm not giving up my friend with benefits. I mean, you live over here in Brazil, and what am I supposed to do, at home? I don't see you but twice a year. And again, it comes out, if you, in my opinion, are committed to your relationship, long distance or not, then be committed. And I happen to agree. What is the point of being engaged or offer a proposal if you aren't truly committed to your person and you know that your person thinks that y'all are in a monogamous relationship? So I thought that would have been the straw that broke Alliya's back, but no pun intended, but it didn't. So when we see them again, it's the next morning or the next day or a couple days later, Shawn and Alliya are at a cosmetic surgeon's office, and Alliya wants to get some surgery or a consultation for surgery before Shawn goes home. I said, do what you got to do, Alliya. Okay, so you may not be cool with the maybe not monogamous relationship that you don't have, but I'm gonna get him in his pockets before he go home. You know what I'm saying? He proposed to me, so yeah, we're gonna have this cosmetic consultation. So Alliya wants to have some procedures that would define her face to make her more feminine and just take fat out of her abdomen to put it in her behind to make it more round. And Shawn is there, but he's not necessarily a fan of Alliya doing any other enhancements to her body, because when they met when Alliya was Douglas before the transition. So Shawn still sees Alliya as Douglas. He's not a fan of her transitioning over. But then when the conversation takes place of, well, are you going to have the bottom surgery? Alliya said, not at this time. She just wants to be a little bit more feminine right now. And I think that calmed Shawn down, his mind, I should say, a little bit, because, he still is envisioning Alliya as Douglas. Now, when we see them again, Shawn is packing up to go home, and we learned some news. Apparently, they had some adult time, and because Shawn's on his way home, and Alliya had mentioned to her friend Jackie 2 episodes ago that her and Shawn hadn't done anything because sexually it just wasn't on the table. Well, apparently those things have changed, and they had a good time. They're both on the same page, and Alliya's like, well, I can't wait to come to America to see you. And Shawn left a suitcase for her so she can pack all her things up when it's time. But then in confessional, Alliya says that, I hope Shawn hurries up to file the K-1 visa. I said, oh my gosh. So not only has he not filed the K-1, he proposed to you and he has a friend with benefits still. I don't know how long this is going to last. But then Shawn, on the way to the airport in confessional, says he has to learn to accept Alliya as Alliya and Douglas as Douglas. And where they go now is where they go now. I'm like, Shawn, nah. He just, again, wants to have his cake and eat it too. All right. Let's move to Kyle and Annie. So Kyle is 32, Annie is 39. So Annie actually broke things off last week with Kyle because she said if he couldn't be, one for all for one for her, be in a relationship only with her and not donate, because we all know now that Kyle donates his time for women and families to have children and make a family. And so Kyle, for some reason, wants to meet up with Annie one more time before he goes. Well, he's not going home. He's going back to England to make another in-person donation. And Annie agreed to come for the sit down. Kyle actually said that he was upset that Annie broke things off. He said he flew all the way over to Malta to be with her to see if they can make things work, but maybe she still has a thing for her ex, and she recently had intimacy with her ex too, and was possibly trying to pin a baby on him. I said, what? You really believe that? I mean, talking about, in my opinion, land of the delusional. So when Kyle and Annie meet up for tea, and at first it starts out cordial. Kyle told Annie, well, happy to see you. I just want to talk to you one last time, just so we could clear the air. And Annie says, well, I wasn't expecting this, but sure, what do you have to say? And so Kyle brought up the fact that when Annie took an ovulation test last week, he confronted her, he said, why would you take an ovulation test? Because apparently Kyle has been tracking her ovulation, and Annie's been giving him the details. So there that is right there. And so he said, so you shouldn't have been pregnant by the time we had intimacy. When was the last time you was intimate with your ex again? And you're trying to pin a baby on me? He goes, that's how it seems. He said, matter of fact, your breasts look like they're engorged as if they're lactating. And Annie was like, I can't believe you are saying something like this to me, Kyle, because you came here with another agenda. And why would I want to have a baby with you? Are you out your mind? I said, is he out his mind? I said, didn't you just have intimacy with him? Is the whole reason why you bought a ovulation test to make sure that you weren't at the peak of ovulation for pregnancy, which means you didn't have protection? I was like, don't even go there. You didn't have protection. Kyle said you didn't have protection. So what you mean not have a baby? And if you grown, we all know it only takes one time one time. So anyways, that conversation didn't last long. Annie got her stuff and she left. She was like, I don't have to deal with this nonsense. And Kyle got his stuff and went on by his business. But then we see Annie, I don't know how much time later, but she's in the kitchen and she has her son there. And we met her son on the very first episode. His name is Emil, that went to visit his dad for 2 weeks. I don't know where the dad lives, but while Kyle was in town, so that Annie and Kyle could have some alone time. And, you know, in confessional, Annie says she's happy to be a mom. I believe her son's around 9-10 years old. She said, you know, even though she's getting older now, she wouldn't mind having a baby. But she wants to have a baby with someone she's in love with and someone that wants to be in a relationship with just her. Someone who tells her she's beautiful and just feels like, you know, make sure she's like the only woman on earth. I said, girl, I hope you find it. But however you found Kyle, if it was on a website or whatever, yeah, don't go back to that website no more. Like pay for a reputable website if that's what you're going to do, looking for a man. All right. Finally, Luke and Madeline. So Luke is 30, Madeline is 19. So before Luke leaves, they're still finishing up their vacation. They've had a lot of issues going on, from alleged sleeping in bed with other men, even half naked or whatever, spending too much money, and just different little things going on, including for Luke. He lost his job. He's living in his parents' basement. He don't have the funds like he used to. His businesses went belly up, his investments. So he's really living by the skin of his teeth. So on their last day of the vacation, Luke is asking Madeline one more time what she feels about the prenup agreement that he suggested to her. And he even said that I'm not, or I can't marry you without a prenup being signed. And so Madeline says, I thought about it. Now I'm going to sign the prenup. I'm going to sign it. And Luke is like, woohoo, you're going to sign it? He's like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Come on, Luke. You didn't believe that. I didn't believe it in the moment either. Because in confessional, Madeline says she said what she had to about the prenup for now, so that things will continue on with Luke. Of course, because Luke is your sugar daddy. That's the reason for the apartment, the business, the money, the food, anything else that she has, because funded by Luke. But in confessional for Luke, he said, even though Madeline says that she will sign the prenuptial agreement, he didn't necessarily believe her, but, you know, he wants to have faith that things will change. And when time comes, she'll really sign the agreement. Now, when it's time for Luke to go home, we see him packing up at the apartment. He's telling Madeline, well, Madeline actually asked Luke, so when are you coming back? When are you coming back here to see me? Because they're in Brazil. No, Colombia. I forget. Yeah, they're in Brazil. And so Luke says, oh, baby, it'll be like a week or two. I said, Luke, if it's going to be a week or two, what's the point of going home? You just only been there a week. So you trying to say that you have money to come back in 2 weeks when you told her time and time again that you didn't have it like that, and you have to watch every penny, and you used your 401k? So Madeline says, so is it 1 week or is it going to be 2? So she put Luke on the spot. He said, well, it's not going to be no more than 2, but I promise I'll be back. Even if I have to work in the beauty salon and learn how to do nails, I just want to be with you. I love you, Amor. I love you. So I guess, but guess what? Madeline didn't believe that either. In confessional, she said, I don't think he's going to come back. And if he doesn't come back, pretty much he's going to have hell to pay. I'm going to chop off his Lorena Bob is what she was trying to say. But in confessional, Luke says, well, I told Madeline 1 to 2 weeks, but I'm not sure if that's really going to work out. I don't know if I can trust Madeline. So if I come back, I do. If I don't, I don't. I'm like, why didn't you just say all this up front? Why are you wasting time? Seriously, Luke, what are you wasting time for with 19-year-old Madeline? You're 30. If you come back, you do. If you don't, you don't. Bottom line is You need a job to fund everything that you're doing. And that's that. I think there was a whole waste of time. He knows he's her sugar daddy and he knows the benefits from it. And that's what it is with that relationship. So overall, I don't think that this season lived up to the hype. And I'm not sure if the Love in Paradise franchise from 90 Day will be sticking around. But knowing 90 Day, since they keep up on 90 Day the other way, 90 Day, Love in Paradise, A Single Life, and everything else, it probably will be around for another season. And if anyone follows through with an update for the season, I think it would be Shawn and Alliya, since they're the real one. They're the ones, that truly left off with a cliffhanger. So thank you so much for watching and hanging on for the entire season. I know it was a lot. It lost some pizzazz in my opinion, but I appreciate you everyone for sticking around and subscribing and supporting this video. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you again for watching. And until next time, everyone, live simply, be grateful.